Welcome to Crimewatch UK. We're live. We're waiting for your call.
First, the doorstep killing which has shocked and mystified the residents of a seaside town in northeast Scotland. A Sunday 2 weeks ago in Nairn, population 8,500. Alistair Wilson was a bank manager in nearby Inverness, but lived in Nairn town centre.
It's a killing that has stunned this town and the police officers searching for both a motive and a murderer. More than 40 policemen are now trying to find out why Alistair Wilson was shot dead on his own doorstep.
Alistair was an ambitious, hard-working man. A lot of people knew him and respected him. He just adored his wife and just doted on his two wee sons.
On Sunday the 28th of November this year, Alistair and Veronica were putting their kids to bed. Around about 7:10, our offender would have come up these steps, rung the doorbell, and Veronica has come downstairs to answer the door.
I happened to hear the doorbell and was actually expecting friends to come round anyway, so I went down and answered the door, and he asks for my husband by name, so I think, oh, don't know you, but you obviously know Al. Run back up and tell Al, and he's like, what? Who? But again, you know, there's nothing to be alarmed about or anything.
Alistair went downstairs then, spoke to the man, and received an envelope from him. He took this envelope upstairs. It was sort of bluey-green in colour. I don't know what was in that envelope, if anything. It may have been just a ruse by our offender to get Alistair to come to the door in the first place, or it may have contained something which is of real significance. He then decided to go back down and speak to the man again.
I hear the shots. I live in Nairn. This doesn't happen, so I think it's somebody breaking wood or something. I leave the kids in the room and I run down the stairs.
She found Alistair lying on the doorway within the porch with a number of injuries.
When I heard the news, I was at my home in Australia. I jumped on a plane the next day and was able to be with my family here. We're just so distraught at the moment, and none of us know why this has happened. It's just a complete and utter mystery.
Immediately after the shooting, the offender would have come down the steps here. He'd have gone on to Crescent Road, and from sightings that we have from witnesses, he would have come along Crescent Road here, and this route takes us towards Marine Road, which is directly beside the links area, which is beside the seaside. It's an open area of grassland. It would have been very dark at that time of night, and it would have been a perfect escape route.
I just can't imagine not knowing and being able to move on from here. And I need to be strong. These boys need to have a future, but I can't give that to them until I have a better understanding of what's happened. So yeah, we just need to catch this person and to find out why they did this.
Veronica's lost her husband. These boys will never have a daddy that they will remember because they're so young. Mm. Not only that, he's violated their home, which they feel they're not happy to go back to. I mean, a complete upheaval in every way. And we have lost our only son.
Well, Alistair Wilson's murder remains a mystery. The description of the gunman's been circulated widely in the Inverness area, but it's not rung a bell with anybody locally. Think again. Could it be a local man? Perhaps a customer of Mr. Wilson in the Bank of Scotland in Inverness. He's late 30s, short and stocky, maybe around 5'4", maybe a bit taller. He had short, dark hair, but was wearing a black baseball cap, dark jeans, and a black bomber jacket. Well, Peter, the most baffling thing about all this is a motive, isn't it? I mean, you've looked into Alistair's background. Was there anything in there that could give any clues?
That's right. We're into the third week of this investigation now. One of the main areas we've been focusing in is delving into Alistair's background, both in terms of his professional life and his private life. So far, we haven't turned up anything at all which could account for his brutal murder.
Have you heard his wife there saying that, you know, things like this just don't happen in Nairn?
That's right. It's about 1987 since there was a murder in Nairn, and throughout the north of Scotland, these type of offences are extremely rare indeed.
This is an envelope rather like the one that was presented to Alistair at the doorstep. He then went upstairs with it, then came back downstairs with it. What was that all about, as far as you can tell?
That's right. Veronica Wilson has viewed a number of envelopes, and this is fairly similar to both in terms of colour and size. I don't know what was in that envelope. If anything, it may have been just a ruse to get Alistair to go to the door. What is significant is it hasn't been found at the scene, and the inference is that it was taken away by the suspect.
Now, what about the gun? Because you've announced on the news today that the gun that you found a few days earlier is the gun that was used in this murder. That's right.
It was found down a drain in Seabank Road in Nairn, which is very close to the A96, the main thoroughfare through the town.
That's where we can see the blue dot there?
That's the blue dot, which is within a mile of the crime scene itself.
The crime scene where the red dot is?
That's correct.
There's one person you want to eliminate, in particular, isn't there, from this inquiry?
That's right. We have information about a man who was on the Inverness to Aberdeen bus. It left Inverness at 6:05 that Sunday evening. He got off the bus at the bus station in Nairn at 6:47. He then walked down the main street, past the police station, towards the general area of Crescent Road. We haven't been able to identify this man yet, and I would ask him to come forward. He's described as being in his mid-30s. He's 5'9" to 5'10", very muscular in build, quite a large neck. He was wearing a dark blue quilted jacket and jeans, and he had the habit of keeping his hands in the pockets of his jacket.
Now, of course, he may have been there entirely innocently, but you'd like to know who he is so you can at the very least eliminate him.
Very much so, and he is, of course, a potential witness himself.
OK, well, this is a terrible case. There's a very large reward in this. Crime Stoppers are putting up £10,000, which is the largest reward they can offer, and a national newspaper's added another £10,000 to that. If you knew Alistair, you have any idea about a motive or have any information on the man who shot him, call the studio on 0500 600 600, or you can ring the Instant Room in Nairn on 01463 720 220, or you can call Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111.
Still to come, though, how bank staff got locked in their own vault. The corner shopkeepers who defied armed robbers, but at a cost. The Good Samaritan who turned out to be a rapist.
And who made waves by stealing 13 of these and helped give Sharon Osbourne back her sparkle.
Well, we've got some progress report first on previous cases and some really pretty good results. In September last year, we showed a reconstruction of an attempted kidnap in Doncaster. An off-duty police officer had seen a 16-year-old girl walking home alone, and concerned for her safety, he asked the CCTV control room to keep an eye on her. As she went on walking down the road, a man followed her, scooped her off the ground and tried to run away with her. The control room looked on in horror, and though police cars were dispatched to rescue the girl, the would-be rapist got away. Now, one viewer thought that they recognised him and agonised for months about whether to call in. Frankly, the viewer wasn't sure. But once the name was in, DNA proved the offender was Dieter Graw. And 2 weeks ago, he was sentenced to 4 years for kidnap.
Jason McCready was caught as he tried to burglar a garage, but he drove away with the police officer leaning through the car window trying to grab the keys. She was thrown from the car and was seriously injured. When we showed his photo 2 years ago, a dozen viewers called to help, one giving his whereabouts in Thailand. As a direct result, he was arrested in May when he returned to the UK and 3 weeks ago was sentenced to 27 months.
Progress on a case independently of some, 30 calls to Crimewatch, though police say they helped too. Felicity Paget was stabbed to death in her home in Portsmouth, and a footmark was found in blood outside her home. Now, we can't tell you the inside story yet. What we can say is that 3 people have been questioned and are out on bail.
And now a chance to bring 6 more people to justice. With the background, here are Chief Superintendent Jeremy Payne and PC Jonathan Morrison.
We're hopeful for some good results here. 6 faces, try and remember them. They're all wanted for serious offences. This is Anne Mao. He's wanted for an especially unpleasant murder. A woman was doused in white spirit and set on fire. It happened in Wolverhampton, but we think Mao may now be in Leeds or South East London. He's Vietnamese but speaks English. He's known as Andy and is probably working in a Chinese or Vietnamese restaurant. If you'd like to talk to a Vietnamese speaker, ring the number on the screen.
And Norman Sinclair is wanted for a series of house burglaries in Coventry and Birmingham and another clutch in Enfield in North London, where he may be living now. He's 43, his left ear has a distinctive mole and it's also pierced for an earring. Norman Sinclair is originally from Jamaica and uses different surnames, including Anderson and Georges.
Timothy Wilkinson has been charged with supplying heroin and crack cocaine. He has the name Danielle tattooed across his back, and we think he may be living in the real area of North Wales. Wilkinson is 20, tends to have a tan complexion and has a strong Liverpool accent.
And Troy Stannard escaped from prison in August while serving a sentence for perverting the course of justice. His last address was in Cardiff Bay, but we think he may now be in the north of England, maybe Leeds or Manchester. Troy Stannard may use other names, including Troy Williamson and Troy Phoenix. He has a skull tattoo on his right arm and a boxer's broken nose.
Peter Bastin has served a life sentence for murder and is now out of prison on licence. He should be reporting to the probation service, which is compulsory after release, but worryingly, he's gone missing. Peter Bastin is 44 years old and has connections in Brighton and Portsmouth. He may be in central London, possibly working as a painter and decorator. He has scars on both hands and a scar over his left eye.
And Malik Akhtar has been charged with 2 indecent assaults on passengers while he was working as a minicab driver in Woking, Surrey. He was given bail, but he went on the run. If he's still working as a cab driver, don't get into a car with him, just let us know. Malik Akhtar is Pakistani, and incidentally, he spends a lot of time at bookmakers, so look out for him there. He may still be living in the Woking area. 0500 600 600 if you can help with any of these cases.
With the festive season starting, just a reminder for your own safety to use taxis with proper licence plates. Don't get into strangers' cars just because someone says he's a minicab driver. 2 years ago in London alone, 212 women said they'd been raped or sexually assaulted in illegal cabs. Thankfully, that figure has now been cut drastically to 140 because of the campaigns against rogue taxis. For details on safe schemes in other cities, please go to bbc.co.uk/crime.
Let's take you back now to a cold morning about a month ago in Southport in Lancashire.
You're so aware of your own heartbeat and the panic. Like this was something that wasn't really happening. It was like I was watching Crimewatch almost. Just concentrating on what they want you to do so that they'll hurry up and go away.
Anybody along? Oh, just a minute. Freezing in it. I know. Let's get in and get kettle.
We arrived at the branch and we both have a routine, getting the computers up and running, various pieces of administration, and Hannah made a cup of tea. While we just normal chit-chat and getting on with the day.
Yeah, put your cup of tea. There you go. It's hot. I can't believe the tills were down again last night. You're joking. Anyway. Oh my God!
Move! Come on! We only heard the footsteps for a split second before I felt a hand over my mouth.
Shut your face!
Then I was just shocked, and then I realised that it was actually happening, and I was just terrified. One of the blokes was really aggressive. He was threatening that he was going to cut me or slice me if I didn't manage to get the keys in the lock. I was shaking so much that I was finding it really difficult, but I knew I had to do it.
Get over there! Come on, let's go!
The black guy put cable ties around my ankles and my wrists and trying to calm us down.
Don't worry, you'll see your kids again.
He said that you will see your kids again.
Come on, go!
You don't know how far they'll go.
Stay there! Don't move!
How stressed they are. You just don't know what they'll do.
Come on! Don't close the door, they won't be able to breathe. Come on! Come on!
I was here digging, trying to get down to a drain that was blocked down here. I actually saw a white van driving in. And I heard a noise from the bank. I turned round, walked across. The fire door flew open. 3 of them were about 6 foot. One was definitely black, with a goatee beard. And the 4th one was small, stocky, about 5'4".
Get in, lad, get in, go on! Come on, get in!
As they got into the van and sped away, I didn't realise what had been happening. But as they did that, I then realised that something was terribly wrong inside.
A workman appeared, a bit scary, because as we saw him pass the safe door, he was also dressed in blue. And for a minute, we both thought, oh my God, they're back.
I didn't realise who he was at first until he sort of said what's going on, and then I was just really relieved, and I just was glad that someone had come so quick.
Quick!
Hi, is this the police? Can I help?
It's an emergency, please. There's been a bank robbery in the Barclays Bank in High Street in Southport.
Witness it.
I witnessed 4 blokes rushing past me at the back. Yeah, there's 2 very distressed ladies in the safe.
The whole thing has had a profound effect on all the staff that work at that branch. But I'm personally very, very nervous.
Just to be on my own, I feel scared, because you never think it's going to happen, and then now it's like it can happen.
Terrible ordeal for those women. So who were the robbers? There were 5 of them. 4 were wearing what seemed to be brand new boiler suits, blue ones, rather like this, and had black balaclavas. The driver, he was in different sort of clothes. He was white. He was around 40 years old. The second man was white, was over 6 feet tall, slim build, had a Liverpool accent. The third, also white, much smaller though, was about 5'6" or 7", and a smaller build in every other sense as well. The 4th man is described as having mid-brown skin tone, and he had a goatee beard, slim build, short black hair, strong Liverpool accent. The 5th one, white, quite small, this one around 5'4", but stocky build. He was bald. Now, does this group ring any bells to you? And can you connect them to an old-style Ford box van with 2 seats at the front, 2 doors at the back, and 2 runners across the top of it? Did you see anyone checking out the bank between 7 in the morning and about 9 a.m. on Wednesday the 24th of November? Did you notice anything? Or have you recently sold 4 boiler suits to men of this sort of description? Remember, you can make more legally and tax-free for shopping these guys than they made by terrorising the staff and robbing the bank. There's a £25,000 reward for information that leads to their conviction. The senior investigating officer is here with other members of his team. Our number's on the screen, or you can call the incident room in Southport on 0151 777 3166.
This is Julie Crocker. She hasn't been seen since she disappeared from Plymouth on Tuesday the 21st of September. She was due to go to the local hospital for a dental x-ray, but failed to show up for her appointment. She only had her handbag with her, and detectives are now treating her disappearance as murder. This is Julie's daughter, Abby Jago, and DCI Mike Folkes is leading the inquiry. Mike, you say you're treating this as a murder inquiry. What have you got to go on?
It's been a very, very difficult investigation so far. Despite a lot of publicity, we're nowhere nearer to finding what's happened to Julie. We've set up a major incident room. We are treating it as if it were a murder investigation, but we do sincerely hope that Julie's out there and she's alive and well. And I do appeal that if she is out there, or anybody who knows anything about what's happened to Julie, to come forward tonight.
But so far as you're aware, she's just vanished without a trace.
That's right. All the inquiries we've done, and we've been working on this for 72 days now, solid, have drawn a blank. Everything that we've done, we're nowhere nearer to finding what's happened to Julie.
Is it out of character for her to disappear like this?
It is totally out of character for Julie to disappear. As I said to you, all the inquiries we've done, most people leave traces wherever they go, whether it's a bank details, whether it's going into a local supermarket, but we've actually drawn a complete and utter blank.
So mobile phone records, credit cards, that kind of thing?
That's all been done, and as I said, it's drawn a complete blank at the moment.
And when the last time she was seen, rather, she was wearing this coat. What can you tell us about it?
Yeah, this is a coat. It's actually bought from Matalan. It's actually gone out of circulation, I believe, about 3 years ago. It's a light blue coat, which we believe Julie may have been wearing at the time she was last seen.
OK, well, sort of duck egg blue with white piping. Well, Abby, this is a very worrying time for you, with all this uncertainty. I mean, You're estranged from your mother, you live with your dad now, but you decided you wanted to get back in contact with her. Why was that?
Because I've had enough of like not knowing why we hadn't seen her, well, over a year sort of thing, and I thought it was about time me and my brothers knew
so you've got
something.
2 younger brothers, haven't you?
Yeah.
And it was your 16th birthday, so you wanted to, you wanted to see her?
Yeah,
I mean, what happened when you went to find her and you knocked on the door? How did you find out she was missing?
my mum's boyfriend said he hadn't seen her for a while, so I just sort of, well, I didn't know how to react. I was sort of like, oh, OK, and sort of just went.
And were you worried about that?
Yeah, because someone doesn't just disappear without letting someone know.
So what, you reported to the police, didn't you?
Yeah, next day.
And how much does it mean to you to find out? I mean, as you know, the police are treating this as a murder inquiry, but it could be that she's just gone off somewhere.
Yeah. Well, like I said, no one just disappears out of nowhere, and if anyone does have any information, then I'd be really grateful if someone rang up and let someone know.
I mean, that's what you want, isn't it, tonight? Yeah. You want someone to call in and at least end the uncertainty for you and your 2 younger brothers.
Yeah. Even if it is bad news.
You want to know either way?
Can't not know what's going on, where she is.
OK, Abby, Mike, thank you both very much. Well, if you've any information, call us free in the studio on 0500 600 600, or Mike's colleagues at the Instant Room in Plymouth on 01752 751 240.
A rape now. Tantalisingly, the police actually spoke to the rapist immediately prior to the attack. But unless they'd been psychic, the officers couldn't possibly have predicted what was about to happen. It was back in summer, on a Friday night in Harrow in Middlesex. The victim was a visitor to Britain, actually from South Africa.
All my mates from work had arrived at the pub. We'd managed to get a table in a quiet area, so I was having a few drinks with them. I wasn't having a great week, and I ended up having an argument with one of the guys that was there.
What to do you anyway?
A few weeks.
I wasn't there for Monday and Tuesday.
I was a little bit upset, so I pretty much stormed out.
I'm trying to give you good advice as a mate.
I left the pub on my own. I was crying, and I phoned one of my girlfriends.
Hello? Yeah, I'm okay.
I wasn't too sure how to get home. I remember sitting on one of the flower beds outside. I was going off a lot about how I missed home and I missed my friends, and I was very lonely.
What am I doing here?
I didn't see him walking up towards me. I just remember my phone being taken out of my hand.
I know, I was just walking past and she's crying. She's really upset.
He was actually pretty well-spoken, which calmed me down. And he was just so reassuring, and I think because I was homesick and I was lonely and I'd had a fight with one of the guys, I thought it was nice at the time that somebody had offered to help.
Do you want me to pass it back to you? Here she is.
Yeah, no, he's fine. He's fine. He's going to give me his card. Listen, yeah, OK. Oh, I've just had a terrible
He was between 20 and 25, mixed race, dressed in a light-coloured shirt, and he had a chain on.
I just really, really need to go home, I think.
This is when the police patrol came by and stopped. They warned the man not to use his mobile phone when driving, but though his passenger may have been drinking, he clearly hadn't, so they drove on. Town centre CCTV then picks up a passer-by. It's now 5-1 on a Friday night at the end of July. It's just possible this man noticed something and remembers it. If it was you, please call. But we do know about the car. It's a silver MG RZ with alloy wheels.
I remember him saying to me, "Oh, you shouldn't be so upset." He had an air freshener hanging from the shape of a Christmas tree. The music was nice, and I remember asking him what his name was, and he said to me his name was Asher, and I thought it was really funny.
Not Asher.
Yeah, it's
What's
Asher.
your name?
You don't believe me?
No.
We'd driven around for quite a while, and I didn't recognise any of the area, so I knew the direction we were going in wasn't to where I lived. I was thinking, you don't know this guy's name, and he said, "Don't worry, I'm going to drop you off at home." The alarm bell started to go off.
Listen, I really need to go home now.
I was really scared. I can remember wanting to say something, but I couldn't actually talk to him. And then he climbed on top of me and, yeah, I mean, he attacked me. I remember him driving down the same road that the pub was on. When the car stopped, I managed to get out and I felt really, really, really dirty and disgusting. Climbed into a phone booth that was near the car. I just sat on the floor within the phone box and just sat and crying. I have bad nightmares. He's ruined so much of my life because of this, because I get so depressed and I'm very scared for other people that he's still out there.
This is DI Jed Ashcroft. What have viewers got to go on? It's a very hazy picture at best that we've got of the rapist.
It is, but I think if you put all the factors together, namely the description of the attacker, the fact that it's a silver MG-ZR motor vehicle, the fact that it was the end of July in the Harrow area, I'm confident if you put all those three together that somebody will know who the attacker is.
Just take the car first, the ZR. I think I actually called it an RZ, did I, earlier on, but it's a ZR, of course. I mean, there are lots of those around.
There are. This one, they make them in two colours that could be similar to this vehicle, either a silver or a grey. There are lots of those vehicles, but not obviously if you concentrate on the Harrow area, there aren't that many of them. There's a suggestion as well that because the attacker dropped the victim in more or less the same place that he picked her up, it's quite a complicated one-way system, that he knew the area and may well in fact be local.
And the best description you got of him? How much did she remember of his face?
Well, not a great deal about his face. She describes him as a light-skinned black man, 20 to 25 years old. You can see in the image there that he's wearing a white T-shirt with a logo on the chest, and he's got a chunky gold chain around his neck.
Now, this could have been completely opportunist. Alternatively, of course, he might have tried this on before, and there might be other women out there he's tried it on.
Absolutely. I mean, if anybody's watching who thinks they may have been picked up by this suspect, whether or not they accepted the lift, we'd very much like to speak to them.
OK, well, if you know who it was, if you've got any idea, please remember, he's raped her, he might do it again to somebody else. He's well-spoken, we've just heard he's mixed race, but it's that car that he had, that's the strongest lead. Now, remember, this was back in July. Does he still have that silver MG ZR with its alloy wheels? If not, did he sell it to you? Do you remember about the car or about him, anything at all? 0500 600 600, or you can call the Incident Room in Harrow on 020 8733 4338. And if you've been the victim of a crime and you'd like to talk to someone, call the Victim Support Line. They're on 0845 30 30 900.
Take a look at these beautiful Meissen figures. They're part of a collection from the V&A Museum in South Kensington in London, a collection which is now a little bit smaller than it used to be, because on Wednesday the 24th of November, between 12:30 and 1:30 p.m, a display case was broken into and 15 Meissen figures were stolen. Well, Paul Hayes, you're the expert in this kind of thing, and certainly the thieves appear to know their stuff.
Well, these really are the Rolls-Royce of porcelain manufacture. Now, these are made in Germany right at the beginning of the 18th century. Now, the Chinese had the secret of making true porcelain for over 2,000 years, but there's a great race on to find out the true sort of European version. And the first figurine we've got actually is called the Beggar Man. Now, this is a pure white figurine and left deliberately white, so it shows off its true beauty, or its white gold, as it was discussed. And you'd have to throw away half a dozen of these figures before you'd have one that was perfect like this. Value-wise, about £14,000. Yes.
And what about the size? Because we've got one here. Would it be a similar size to this one?
Yes, they are quite small, about 16 centimetres high.
High as your hand,
at that time,
really.
they had lots of the bigger figures would collapse, so it's quite small as in a porcelain figurine manufacturer.
Okay. And what else was taken?
Well, we've got this other one here. This is by J.J. Candler. This is a Polish fruit seller. This is very highly enamelled. It's got a bright green smock with a purple sash, very trendy gentleman of the day. But it comes from a series called the Cry de Paris, which is the Parisian vendors or street vendors. And we have a similar type of figure here. This one's a flower seller from the same series.
One here. Get a bit smaller now, this one.
A bit smaller, yeah. Those are less than 15 centimetres, or very small indeed. Yeah. And also, they made a lottery ticket seller, believe it or not, in that particular series.
Did they? Well, the details are actually beautiful.
They are beautiful, yeah. It's one of the best, really.
Tell us about some more.
Well, this one we're showing now is actually called the Gardener. This dates about 1750, and it's very rococo, very romantic in its execution. The gardener's almost dancing around, which shows a very floral watering can if you have a look. This one, a very similar one here, which is actually a cook of the same period. But if you look at his facial features, they're very, very similar, very angelic, a bit like yourself, if you
Oh, yeah, sure. And the details, fantastic. And then some others were taken, because there are smaller ones as well, aren't there? Others were taken more about this size.
Yeah, the important thing to get across really is the size. These are actually 11 centimetres, which is minute.
But
still,
valuable.
Yeah, worth about £3,000 each. So what we're looking for really is anybody who may have had these offered, or anybody who specialises in the whole history of porcelain. And very often the smaller items are forgotten, but they are just as valuable.
OK, well, there is CCTV of a man entering the museum on the day of the robbery with a red and white laundry-style bag. Detectives would like this man to come forward for elimination. He may be there for a completely innocent reason. And if you were in the ceramics gallery at the time of the theft, 12:30 to 1:30 p.m. on Wednesday the 24th of November, please get in touch. Or if you've been offered any of these pieces for sale, please call 0500 600 600 or the Instant Room on 020 8246 0132.
We've got more missing treasures now, but this time these are ones you simply must have heard about, and if not, where have you been? They were stolen from the Osbornes. At this moment, I think, yeah, 9:30, something like now, Sharon Osbourne is recording the Royal Variety Show, but she's been telling us what happened and how you can help.
Ozzy got up to go to the bathroom, and as he was on his way through to the bathroom, he thought he saw somebody in the dressing room. And you know, because he was half asleep, half awake, so he finished in the bathroom, then went into the dressing room and saw this guy running across the room trying to get out of the window. So Ozzy then tackled him and got him in a headlock, and he was halfway out of the window at this time, and then just basically pushed him out the window. After he said we were burgled, I called the police, and then I went to look for my wedding rings, which I keep by the side of my bed, and gone. My engagement ring was taken, a pearl necklace, a diamond necklace, a very large sapphire ring, and 2 pairs of diamond earrings that I have were gone too. Do you know what it is? All the stuff is totally irreplaceable. You can't get that time back again, or that piece ever back again. It's very, very sentimental. I'm angry and scared. I'm really angry that this happened to us, that somebody had the audacity to break in and fight with my husband over possessions that we own. And scared, don't feel quite right yet in the house. It'll probably take some time before I feel comfortable there again. I hope that somebody out there realises that there's £100,000 reward for this jewellery. And I hope that because it's near Christmas, and, you know, I mean, everybody needs cash for Christmas. And I just hope that this will spur somebody on to say, you know what, I know who did it, and why not get the money? Why not? For telling the truth. Turn him in.
That's what Di Paul Miller's hoping for as well. But I mean, you've had so much publicity on this case. Why are you so keen to come on Crimewatch, to get the Crimewatch viewers involved?
Well, of course, we did get an enormous amount of publicity, but unfortunately most of the publicity centred around Ozzy tackling the burglar, and very little was centred around, as Sharon said, the £100,000 reward.
Now, that is a staggeringly big reward. I think it's one of the biggest ones in British criminal history.
I think it is. It's put up by both the insurers, Lloyd's Underwriters, and by the Osbornes, so it's a combined...
So who are you hoping is going to ring in for that?
Well, we're hoping that somebody out there knows where the jewellery is or who committed this crime, and either a girlfriend, an ex-friend, or somebody who just wants to earn themselves this £100,000 reward. Somebody does know where this stuff is.
The guy jumped or fell out of the window, 15 feet, maybe a bit more. Might have hurt himself, though I think he ran off, so not conspicuously hurt himself. Paul, having just told us about the Meissen, that stuff, though rare, was not unique. This stuff, as Sharon has told us, is unique. She showed us some of it. Just take us through, for example, this huge sapphire, she called it. I think she also calls it the swimming pool.
Well, that's right.
Just so big.
Well, it does. It looks like you just dive in there. The colour is fantastic. Now, this is a Ceylon sapphire. It's 52 carats, which is enormous when it comes to sapphires. It's flanked by 5 carats in diamonds in total. And it was bought really as an investment, both for Amy and for Kelly.
And Ozzy's watch. Again, if not unique, there can't be more than a couple like it.
Well, that's right. These are made in limited numbers, and it's a watchmaker called Frank Muller. And he's a very important Swiss watchmaker, only makes limited numbers every year, basically for celebrities.
I mean, what are they going to do with these? I mean, any dealer offered these is going to ring the police straight away. These are going to be hot for years.
Well, you'd have thought so. When if you look at
even if they break them up.
Well, exactly. But if you look at the engagement ring here, this has a 10-carat diamond in the middle. Now, it's a VS1 quality and a G colour, so anybody who understands diamond, the fact it's 10 carats with those characteristics makes it very rare indeed, and it could only really be Sharon Osbourne's.
Paul Miller, somebody now thinking, OK, I'm going to go for the 100,000 reward. What's the best description of the guy who was fighting with Ozzy and who ran out of the room or fell out of the room?
Well, we've got a description of a man who's about 5'10", light-skinned, and a very slim build because he got through a very narrow window. At the time, he was wearing a light jacket, dark trousers and trainers, and a ski mask. And it was a ski mask that had a single hole at the front.
OK, well, remember the date of the theft, if that should help you, 22nd of November. You'll hardly forget that colossal reward, £100,000, and that goes to you if you can give information that leads to a conviction. 0500 600 600 or the instant room on 01865 293 037. Now, here are Jeremy and the newly bearded Jonathan with the latest on tonight's calls.
I've been checking on the calls coming in on the baffling murder of Alistair Wilson, shot dead on the doorstep of his house in Nairn in northern Scotland. Now, we've had quite a few calls on this, but we still have no clues as to the real motive in this case. Why was he killed? Let me remind you of the description of the killer. Short, around 5'5", 35 to 40 years, stocky build, wearing a dark baseball cap, shiny dark blouse-on jacket. Who was he?
Lots of calls coming in for the wanted faces, very encouraging that a lot of sightings in the area where we expected most of the men to be. Timothy Wilkinson has been seen in the Liverpool area, a number of sightings of Malik Akhtar in the Woking area, and a probation officer spotted Peter Bastin in the Portsmouth area. Please keep those calls coming in. The studio number's on the screen, and if you're watching on digital satellite TV, you can email us directly through your remote control. Just press the red button on your handset and choose Crimewatch.
And now how two very brave people stopped a robbery, but at a cost.
In 1979, we came into East Dulwich area.
12 first-class stamps and 40p change, please. Thank you.
Our customers are very, very good, very helpful, and they are very cooperative. Got a good community feeling.
Morning, Ruby.
Good morning.
Thank you. And we live just like a big family. Most of the times we have some jokes and all these things, and they're really friendly. I named the shop as Lily Stores and Post Office so that everybody knows that my wife's name is Lily. Well, I can't forget now. It was a Saturday, and it was nearly closing time for the post office, and we close at 1.
Whose birthday is it?
My godson.
Oh, wish him a happy birthday from George.
I will, thank you.
He came to the counter, he was very quiet, he was hooded. The other one went to the shop counter.
Oh my God! Tell her to open the security door. Just open the security door. Give us the money! Give me the money!
I pressed the panic button.
Get out of my shop! Get out of my shop! Get out
of the money now!
That time I was a little bit frightened that anything could happen to me.
Help! Help! It's a robbery at the post office.
What's going on?
They got a gun.
Give us the money!
The police are coming!
Give me the money now! I told you to open the door. No!
George! George!
Is that the guys? Yes, please.
That hole which the gun made, it was inside the pocket, but I saw that it was a hole there. And then I told her that you shouldn't worry and just relax, and it's me who has been shot, and everything will be all right.
Hello, sir. Oh my God. Hello, can you talk to me? Can you tell me what's happened?
My husband went to 8-hour surgery. He was on a ventilator for 4 days, every second, every minute was like 10 years for us, for me, for my daughter, my whole community.
Mike Delta from Mike 2-1.
At that moment, I didn't know what's going to happen to my husband, whether he's going to have brain hemorrhage, whether he is going to have a stroke. That's a terrible feeling.
Well, the bullet just missed his heart. Take a look at these CT scans. They show how it fragmented in Mr. Narula's body. Here you can see two pieces near his spine. Look there, where the arrow is. And this is the part that penetrated his liver. Now, they can't be removed because it would be too dangerous. DCI Keith Butler might easily have been heading a murder inquiry. They were very brave, Keith, weren't they, fending off those gunmen like that?
He was incredibly brave and also incredibly lucky. As you can see, it's close enough with the bullet to the spine, but it's even closer to a major blood vessel, which the doctors say could have been fatal if it's penetrated.
Well, at least you got descriptions of the two men, haven't you? What can you tell us about them?
The first one, the one that shot Mr. Narula, he's a black male, light-skinned, aged in his early 20s, slim build, about 6 foot tall. He was wearing a biscuit or beige coloured top, possibly a hoodie. He's got very noticeable...
You mean with the hood up like that?
That's correct, yeah. And he's got very notable gaps in his teeth, Mr. Narula noticed. The second guy, again aged in his early 20s, again a black man, but slightly darker skinned. He's a bit shorter, about 5'10", quite a stocky build, with dark clothing, a dark top, again possibly a hoodie. And the fact they're wearing hoodies should be quite noticeable because the 4th of September was an incredibly hot day. And any young lad going out on that day taking an extra top with them would have been unusual.
Yeah, it would have been sweltering, so people would have noticed that. What about that getaway car, the Ford car? It's a bit unusual, isn't it?
A very unusual getaway car. And
for
even
an
more
armed robbery, absolutely.
Exactly, yeah. And it's two-door, not the fastest car in the world. And also unusual is the fact it's not been reported stolen either before or afterwards, which could indicate that they had access to the car and they borrowed it from somebody else, either wittingly or unwittingly.
Whereabouts did it go after? Well, I say the robbery. They didn't get away with anything, as it turns out.
No.
But where did they go afterwards?
They went down Sylvester Road towards Barry Road in East Dulwich, and that's the last we've seen of the car.
And there is a reward, is it? The post office have just said they're putting up a reward.
The post office are offering a substantial reward leading to the arrest and conviction of these men.
OK, well, Mr. and Mrs. Narula had run their shop for 25 years. They were just about to retire. So help catch these two men before they kill someone. 0500 600 600 or the Crystal Palace Instant Room on 020 7230 2061. And now here's Chief Superintendent Jeremy Payne.
Now, I'm trying to identify some men who've been caught on camera. Between them, they're wanted for armed robbery, deception, theft and handling stolen goods. Tell us where we can lay our hands on them tonight. First, armed robbery at a shop in Highbridge, Somerset. This man hands over the money for a packet of crisps, but as the till opens, he pulls out a knife and threatens a member of staff.
Give me the money now. All of it. Give me all of it. Open the till. Open the till now.
He also threatens the shopkeeper's 14-year-old daughter before escaping with a handful of cash. Who is he? Now to Congleton in Cheshire, an attempted deception at a branch of the NatWest Bank. This man is using a stolen bank card and chequebook to withdraw over £5,000 from an account that isn't his. The staff become suspicious and he's unsuccessful. Later on, he tries again at another NatWest in nearby Sandbatch, again leaving empty-handed. It looks very much like he's wearing a wig. Tell us his name. Next, Dalston in East London. This man has been caught on camera at a pawnbroker's. The goods he brought in were stolen from a house in Wimbledon the day before. Do you recognise him? And finally, jewellery thieves operating in the southeast of England. At this branch of Ernest Jones in Richmond, Surrey, two men are helping themselves to 8 Mont Blanc watches while the staff are distracted. And here at a branch of Leslie Davis in Kingston, this couple have managed to get into a display cabinet and steal 12 Cartier watches worth over £12,000. We believe these people are part of an organised gang. Now, we don't know if the older man in the check shirt is simply a witness or involved himself. Do you know who they are? Don't let them get away with it. 0500 600 600 if you can help.
You can call in tonight and identify one of those men. Their face could end up on here. Now, the faces we're going to show you here, all these men have been convicted thanks to Crimewatch viewers. Let's see if we can take a look at some of them. We'll show them in a minute, but let me tell you a little bit about some of them. Marlon Mallwi, Donovan Williams and Perry Lewin. They were captured on CCTV. Here they are. Our three villains. They were captured on CCTV, which we showed in March. They were robbing a branch of the Alliance and Leicester in Hemel Hempstead. As a direct result of calls to Crimewatch, all three were identified. Marlon Mallwi got 9.5 years. Donovan Williams, he got 6.5. And Perry Lewin got 6. And Delroy Edwards, there he is up there, he was wanted for assaulting a child. And after Crimewatch appealed for his whereabouts in March, he handed himself into the police and was charged with wounding and cruelty to a child. In October, he was found guilty and sentenced to 8 years. In July last year, Crimewatch featured a £250,000 jewellery theft at a hotel in Knightsbridge in London. And on the night of the programme, 4 viewers gained the name of Stephen Ward, there he is, as one of those involved. Police surveillance confirmed Ward's part in the theft, and it brought them to another suspect, Robert Mercati, and both men pleaded guilty, and in June they were sentenced to 18 months. See, your calls make things happen. So please ring if you can help with any of our cases tonight.
Indeed, I've just got a rather interesting call here. It's coming on the Alistair Wilson murder in Nairn. I'll tell you about that in a moment. But our next case takes us to Fulham in the southwest of London. The crime's about a year old, but there's now a new twist to the inquiry. It happened on a Friday night in November 2003 at a fish and chip shop just off the North End Road.
George was running it for 16 years. George enjoyed working with the public. He liked mixing with people and having conversations with people. He was friendly, happy.
See you soon, yeah? Say hello to your mum and dad for me.
George was very well known in the community, very well known from the youngest to the oldest.
Hello, Tim. How are you, mate?
Hello, George.
Yeah, what are you after?
Can I have regular cod and chips, please, mate?
He'll look after you. How's life?
Yeah, usual.
Yeah? How's your love life?
Why do you think I'm eating fish and chips?
It was a normal Friday evening in November of last year when a witness was walking down towards Marchbank Road, which leads us in fact onto Thaxton Road. They noticed a motorcycle. It was a burgundy-coloured Japanese motorbike. Attached to one of the wheels, or down by one of the wheels, was a black bag, like a bin bag, or a motorcycle crash helmet. The witness continued to walk along this pathway here, which leads from Marchbank Road into Thaxton Road. As the witness approached the junction of Thaxton Road, they noticed a person dressed in motorcycle gear. The motorcycle man was described as of Middle Eastern appearance. He was in his 20s and he spoke in a foreign accent. The motorcycle man then crossed over the Thaxton Road towards North End Road in the direction of the chip shop, and that's the last the witness saw.
At around the same time, a local resident was walking along North End Road, just along from the fish shop. A man standing in a doorway caught his attention. He seemed in his early 40s, around 5'10" and stocky, and had dark, short, flat hair and sallow skin.
Nasser was George's brother. He came over from Egypt for a holiday. We came here for a month. George was like Nasser's dad.
All right, ladies, yeah? Best chippy in town, yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, Tim, did you see the football last week?
Yeah, Southampton. Didn't stand a chance.
This is my brother, Nasser.
Hello, mate. Hello.
He's over here for a few weeks.
Hello, mate.
Thought I'd show him the sights of London, you know.
Yeah, what, starting here, yeah?
Of course, mate, yeah.
Go on.
See you later, boys, right?
See you later, George.
You could never ever tell a time for George on a Friday night. Sometimes he'd come home at 7, 8, 9, 10, depending how busy it was. He would never walk out the shop if it was busy. So there was never a set time for him to leave on a Friday night.
off us! George?
Oh my God!
George?
What's happened?
I don't know. I heard about it.
Was he alright?
I think he's been shot.
What's happened?
Get an ambulance. Call an ambulance. George? Hello? George?
Why did it happen to him? Just why did it happen to him? It's just completely devastated. It's torn us apart. It's just so difficult. I just can't believe it. It's just so fresh, like it's happened yesterday.
OK, the first thing we need to do, clearly, is to eliminate the two men who may have had nothing to do with the murder. That's the one in the motorcycle gear and the stocky guy was in the shop doorway. Remember, this all happened a year ago, but because of the murder, you might just remember being there on that Friday night, Thaxton Road, just off North End Road in Fulham. But, as I say, a year on, things are suddenly moving on this case. There is now forensic evidence that the police have not made public. There are hopes tonight that several viewers know enough about who did this to call and collect a £20,000 reward. But there's at least one person who's speaking already. And there are links with events that took place in April. Now, I'm sorry if some of this sounds a little bit oblique, but things, as I say, are moving. What we now need is just one more person. One person who can tip the scales. Let me repeat the reward, £20,000. If you know something, you can speak to the top detective confidentially, and after making contact, if you decide you don't want to proceed, well, you don't have to. If he can reassure you sufficiently, though, you can put a dangerous man out of harm's way and earn a cool £20,000. 0500 600 600 or the instant room in Fulham on 020 8358 0600.
Now, our next case is the unprovoked stabbing of a man while he walked home from work in Crawley. Now, we've some great clues, so there's every chance that tonight we can catch the two men responsible. On Sunday, the 31st of October, our victim, who's shown here, who doesn't want to be named, was attacked by two men wearing Halloween masks. He was stabbed 13 times, but thankfully he survived. Now, this is the sort of mask that the attackers were wearing. Now, I've got some CCTV to show you now, because following a local appeal, a cashier from Asda store in Crawley called to say that on the same day as the attack, two men bought Halloween masks and a kitchen knife. The first man is 5'11" to 6'2", with broad shoulders, in his late 20s to early 30s, with short hair cut close to his head. The second man is shorter at 5'9", also late 20s to early 30s. Do you know who they are? The cashier particularly remembers them because he questioned the two men about their motive for buying the knife. Now, I have here a knife which is similar to the one that they bought. And the final clue that we have is that following a detailed search of the area, a map was found in a drain. It's hand-drawn and shows the local area with an X marking the spot where the victim was attacked. On the other side, there's a page of doodles and numbers with vague handwritten notes. Can you identify this writing? Now, take another look at these two men. Someone must recognise them. Tell us where we can find them tonight. 0500 600 600, or you can ring the Crawley Incident Room on 01293 583 823.
Now, jet skis aren't something you normally associate with the chill of winter. The thieves were obviously looking ahead to warmer weather when they stole 13 of them from a yard in Eversley in Hampshire. That's not all. They made off with a speedboat as well, though that's since been recovered. This is DC Hamish Walker. Now, these are the type of jet skis they took. What can you tell us about them?
These are jet skis manufactured by Bombardier. They bear the name Sea-Doo.
How much are they worth, these things?
They're approximately £10,000 each.
£10,000 each. So 11 of these were put into a lorry.
That's right.
And then 2 of these were put, onto this kind of trailer here?
That's right. The remaining 2 were placed on a double jet ski trailer, which is quite a rare item.
So when that was seen driving off, someone might have noticed that?
That's right.
Now, we've got some CCTV of the break-in. Let's have a look at what we can see there. They made in... when did they break in?
They entered about 1:30 in the morning on the 17th of November, breaking in through the metal gates using oxyacetylene cutting gear.
And those the 2 white lorries we're seeing there?
That's right, 2 large white lorries. We think that's a large white van, and then there were 2 further vehicles that we'd like help identifying from the CCTV.
And they broke into the shop, and this was, taking...
They broke into the shop, they took some petty cash, some water sports-related items like impact jackets and surfboards.
And what about that car they're loading them into then?
That car we believe is a gold vehicle, perhaps a BMW, but if somebody out there knows what kind of car that is and somebody who's got one, then please let us know.
So far we've got 2 white lorries, another van, possibly a gold BMW.
Yep.
Then we've got the speedboat that was
right.
taken as well. Now we've got CCTV of that as well, so it's possible someone might have seen the speedboat being taken away from the scene as well.
Correct.
So let's have a look here. So where's this?
That's on the A30 in Blackwater, heading towards the Meadows roundabout in Camberley. That shows a silver car that we believe may be a BMW as well, towing the speedboat that was stolen.
Now you actually got that back because then, because at a later date they had a crash and left the speedboat and took off. So
That's
you've got
right.
the speedboat back.
We got the speedboat
Still
back.
got to get the jet skis. Where would they be sold, these kind of things?
Normally they'd be sold through Sea-Doo dealers like the one that was attacked in this raid, but it's very unlikely that they'll be buying them or selling them on because they all know about what's happened. So we are looking for people who've been offered for sale these kind of craft, who are perhaps looking for trailers and keys as well for them.
OK, well, let's see if we can get them back. If you know who the culprits are, you could be in the money because there's a reward of £5,000 for information leading to an arrest. 0500 600 600 or the instant room in Aldershot on 01256 405 059.
Just trying to go through some of the calls we've had here on the Harrow rape of the South African visitor. 2 people naming the same man, actually maybe 3, I've got to check on that. On the Southport robbery, an off-duty police officer for a similar robbery in Merseyside thinks he might know who the people are. Indeed, one person, in fact, has given us such details of 3 of the people, I'm not even going to tell you more about that. We've actually got a new witness too, sighting of the van outside the robbery. Julie Crocker, one viewer, claims that they found her bag in Plymouth along with all sorts of identifying details, including her credit cards, and obviously that's going to be checked out. I told you that there have been an extraordinary number of calls on the Alistair Wilson murder, despite the huge publicity locally. Lots of motives given, interestingly. We've definitely, or almost definitely, got a new witness, someone who saw a guy holding that turquoise envelope at the end of Crescent Road on the night. And an important link we'll tell you about later on. All the instant room numbers are on CFAX on page 621. You can see a reminder of some of tonight's cases and crime prevention advice at bbc.co.uk/crime.
And our phone lines are open until midnight tonight and from 7:30 until midnight tomorrow. We don't have a programme in January, but Crimewatch will return on Tuesday, the 1st of February 2005. We'll be live from Manchester.
But before then, we'll be back, 40 minutes, 35 minutes. We're back 10:35 with Crimewatch Update. If you can't join us then, remember that the crimes we feature really are very rare. So don't have nightmares, do sleep well. From all of us on Crimewatch and the whole team, have a happy, crime-free Christmas. And here's to a peaceful New Year from all of us. Good night.
Good night.